So here we are. We've got at least another 3 weeks of lockdown. How do you feel about that? I expect that most of us agree that it's necessary for now, but we might all have our own personal feelings on the matter. Maybe we're feeling comfortable. We got Netflix and toilet roll and wine and could quite easily spend the next 5 years on the sofa. Or maybe it's a real struggle and our feelings of isolation and worry about the future are taking their toll. Or maybe our overwhelming feeling is one of gratitude towards those in the NHS and the essential services who are putting themselves in danger so that we might be safe. Or possibly we're feeling a little bit trapped and we're pacing the room like a caged tiger longing to spread her wings. All of those feelings are very natural, and we might find ourselves feeling different ones at different times. In today's gospel, Jesus' disciples are, as we know, also under lockdown. And as I said on Easter Sunday, this is a lockdown that is entirely of their own choice, although I don't think they quite see it that way. As far as they're concerned, they're unable to leave the place where they're staying. After Jesus' arrest and crucifixion, they are worried that they'll be arrested themselves, and they realise that telling the soldiers that they're just out walking the dog probably isn't going to stop that happening. And so here they are on the evening of the resurrection, having heard that Jesus has risen but not quite believing it, huddled together in one room. And it's there in their midst that Jesus appears not just once but several times. One of the people who we meet in this story today who I really like is Thomas. Thomas is the one disciple who expresses what all the other disciples are feeling. I don't believe it. Sometimes we call him Doubting Thomas, which makes us think that doubt is somehow a bad thing. But is it? I don't think so. I think it's very normal to have doubts, which brings me to the heart of what I want to talk about today. We can have all sorts of doubts. We can doubt the existence of God, and we can doubt the goodness of God. We can doubt the teachings of the church, and we can doubt the goodness of the people in the church, including people like myself. But I think the doubt that hits us the hardest is none of those things. It's when we believe in God, when we believe in the church, when we believe that they're all, well, good enough. But when we struggle to believe how it applies to us, how it applies to me. It's a kind of self-doubt when we doubt our goodness, when we doubt our gifts, when we doubt our lovableness. How can God still love me? How can God still believe in me when I don't quite feel the same way about myself? Yet, wasn't that how Jesus' disciples must have felt? When they heard that Jesus had risen, it must have felt a bit like hearing that your ex-wife has won the lottery. It's a bit late now. And they must have felt that Jesus must have wanted nothing to do with them after they had played a part, however unwittingly, in his downfall. You can imagine when Mary Magdalene came to tell them that the news that Jesus had risen, what they must have said. Well, they probably said something like, good on you, Mary Magdalene, thanks for letting us know, before slamming the door in her face. And so you can imagine their surprise when Jesus appears in their midst. And you can imagine Thomas's surprise when Jesus comes back again. It takes quite a few more visits. The lockdown lasts for quite a while longer. But step by step, Jesus visits them in their doubt, in their fear, and in their shame. And he helps them not only to believe in him again, but also for them to see that he believes in them. So here we are now in the midst of our lockdown. Maybe we have similar feelings too. Yet Jesus comes to us. He comes to us tonight into our closed rooms to help us in our doubts, to comfort us in our fear, to heal us in our shame, and to restore us to his service.